Beneath the shimmering expanse of stars over Mount Elgon, the night murmured its ancient lore. Constellations, like cryptic messages from the heavens, traced their stories across the velvet sky. An elder, eyes gleaming with the wisdom of countless generations, passed these secrets to his young successor. In those times, the world was an intricate web of nature's design. People read the behaviors of animals and plants, trying to unlock the language of the universe itself. But it was the stars that held the greatest mysteries, guiding toward both prosperity and peril. The sun nurtured life, while the heavens steered the path of those who walked the earth. Shadows of celestial animals raced across the night sky, each embodying its own tale of survival. Soon, a mysterious visitor would descend from the stars, the turtle-tailed comet. This celestial wanderer, enigmatic and foreboding, carried the potential for creation or destruction. Cosmic forces beyond human grasp were poised to tip the scales of the world. To survive, one had to decipher the signs. The young heir's moment had arrived. Before the comet's light streaked the sky, he had to unite the tribes and lead them in the hunt for the elusive horned antelopes. This hunt was no mere test of skill, but a ritual to stave off the approaching doom and usher in a new age. What would the stars reveal in this delicate dance of fate? Life or death? The young heir believed he knew, but only time would unveil the truth to all. The sun blazed mercilessly over the endless savanna, where antelopes grazed in blissful ignorance. Beneath the serene facade of the plains, however, a storm was silently brewing. The sky, dotted with constellations that whispered of change, hinted at a fate far greater than any of them could grasp. The young seer felt the weight of destiny pressing heavily on her shoulders. She had seen the signs in the stars, and she knew this hunt was more than a simple fight for survival. It was a moment that would forever alter the course of their history. As the tribes gathered, old rivalries simmered just beneath the surface. Warriors exchanged wary glances, each remembering past conflicts, each cautious of future betrayal. Yet for the young seer, this hunt held a fragile hope, a chance to unite the fractured tribes in a way no leader before her had. She felt the pressure of tradition pulling her one way, and the needs of her people pulling her in another. The weight of responsibility was suffocating, but the stars had spoken. This was her test, and she couldn't afford to fail. The first tribe moved into position, slipping like shadows through the tall grass. Every step was deliberate, every movement calculated. Their mission, to encircle the herd and guide them toward the narrow pass. The antelopes, still unaware of the danger closing in, continued to graze in peaceful oblivion. The young seer watched, her breath held tight. She had meticulously planned every detail, but doubt gnawed at her. Would the tribes follow her lead when the moment of truth arrived? As the antelopes were funneled toward the pass, the air grew thick with tension. The other tribes, scattered along the outskirts, communicated with subtle gestures, each movement synchronized, their coordination flawless. This was not just a hunt. It was a delicate dance of trust and precision. One misstep from any tribe could send the entire plan into chaos, and the young seer knew that the fragile unity she had worked so hard to build would shatter. Suddenly, a sharp cry pierced the stillness, shattering the fragile calm. The antelopes bolted, their hooves pounding the earth like a heartbeat gone wild. The young seer's heart raced as the hunters sprang into action, stone-tipped spears and heavy clubs whistling through the air with brutal precision. The savanna, moments ago bathed in golden sunlight, transformed into a chaotic battleground. Blood stained the earth as antelopes fell one after another, victims of the tribe's coordinated assault. But even as the dust settled and the bodies of the fallen lay scattered across the plains, the young seer knew the hunt was far from over. The real test was about to begin. The tribes gathered to divide the spoils, and the tension that had briefly subsided returned in full force. One leader, known for his arrogance, stepped forward. His eyes gleamed with greed as he claimed more than his share, his actions a direct challenge to the fragile peace the young seer had forged. The others stood in uneasy silence, but the betrayal was clear. What had started as a unified effort was unraveling before their eyes, consumed by selfish ambition. The young seer's chest tightened as she watched the unity she had fought so hard to build begin to slip away. Anger surged within her, not just at the greed of this leader, but at the fragility of the peace she had so desperately hoped to preserve. The elders whispered among themselves, their voices heavy with ancient wisdom. "The balance is broken," they murmured. "This is no longer a sacred hunt. It has become a contest of greed." But the young seer refused to let this moment define their future. Stepping forward, her heart pounded in her chest, yet her voice remained calm and steady. The eyes of every warrior, elder, and hunter turned to her. She spoke, her words carrying the weight of prophecy and authority. "The bear has not yet left its den," she began, her gaze unwavering. "For now, the serpent must lead. We must bide our time." The words hung in the air, laden with meaning. Slowly, the tension eased. The greedy leader, though still defiant, backed down, unwilling to challenge the young seer's authority openly. For now, the fragile peace was restored. But the young seer knew it was only a temporary reprieve. Inside, doubt and fear gnawed at her. Had she truly quelled the unrest, or had she merely delayed the inevitable? As the tribes dispersed, returning to their own fires, the young seer looked up at the stars. They flickered silently above, as if mocking the turmoil below. The true battle was yet to come, not just between the tribes, but within herself, as she grappled with the burden of leadership and the weight of the destiny that had been placed upon her. In the vast plains surrounding Mount Elgon, young Kara had learned to move like the wind, silent and unseen. Today, he followed a path carved by generations of ancient beasts. The elephants he tracked were his teachers as they moved toward Kitum Cave, a place of mystery and forgotten time. The elephants' movements were deliberate, as if driven by something deeper than instinct. They sought the cave for reasons unknown to Kara, but he knew it was here that he would find answers. Inside Kitum Cave, the elephants dug their tusks into the rock, pulling chunks from the walls, then lifting the pieces to their mouths. What were they seeking in the darkness, in the heart of the earth? Was it salt? A gift of life from the stones? Kara watched from the shadows, his curiosity deeper than his fear. To avoid detection, Kara concealed himself among the remains of creatures long dead. The scent of decay hung in the air, but one thing stood out: a carcass, preserved in an impossible state, its flesh untouched by time. Why had it not rotted? He cut a piece, wrapped it carefully, and slipped away before the elephants noticed. As the sun sank below the horizon, Kara returned home, clutching the strange piece of meat he had taken from the cave. His father, a man of few words but many lessons, awaited him by the fire. Kara knew this was more than a discovery. It was the beginning of a journey beyond the village, beyond the plains. In the eyes of his father, Kara saw understanding. He had taught Kara that the earth hides its secrets, revealing them only to those who dare to seek. Kara was no longer a boy of the tribe. He was something more. He had tasted the unknown, and now there was no turning back. From the moment he could walk, Kara's father had taught him to listen to the language of the wild. Every creature, every breeze, carried a story, a lesson. He learned how the herds moved across the savannah, how the ants created their kingdoms, how the lions stalked their prey under the cover of darkness. He learned to survive not with brute strength, but with the wisdom of nature. On the night before his journey, Kara walked with his father one last time beneath the stars. The night was clear, and the sky stretched endlessly above them. The stars held a map, one that Kara had studied for as long as he could remember. The constellations were not just points of light. They were guides. His father had shown him how to read the sky, how to find his way by the stars. When your time comes, his father had told him, the heavens will show you the path. Kara knew now that his time had come. With the weight of his father's lessons on his shoulders, Kara made ready to leave the village. He was not leaving for adventure or conquest. He was leaving to find the truth, the hidden threads that wove the fabric of his world. His weapons were simple, a hand axe of stone, the skin on his back, and the wisdom of the wild. Kara walked into the dawn, the sun rising behind him, casting long shadows across the savannah. Ahead lay the unknown, but behind him, the lessons of the past burned brightly. He would find the answers he sought, but they would come at a cost. The journey was not about discovery alone. It was about becoming part of the wild, about understanding the balance of life and death. The wild was his teacher, the stars his guide. Kara's journey had begun, and with it, the story of a life forever intertwined with the mysteries of the earth. In this cave bearing the marks of time, the sage's final hours were approaching. As the shadows of the fire danced on the walls, he prepared to impart the wisdom of the past. The tribal leaders and great hunters stepped into the dark entrance of the cave. They'd been summoned to hear the sage's words. Gathering his last strength, the sage began to speak. For many years I have guided you. I have told you the language of nature. Now my time is up, but the order will continue. The leaders and hunters respectfully departed from the sage's presence. However, the young guide, Maru, remained by his side to receive his master's last advice. Maru, read nature. Watch the sun. Follow the shadows. When foxes run across the sky, expect disasters. Do not forget our knowledge and choose your successor wisely. And so, the sage of the mountain fell into his final sleep. The foxes in the sky had begun to run. As the era waned, the heavens shifted. The star of the bear, Polaris, took its throne in the sky, guiding all who dared to dream beyond. Beneath its light, the tribes felt a new dawn stirring in their bones. Yet on Earth, a fire brewed, the fire of differences. Conflict spread like shadows across the land, and those defeated had no choice but to journey onward. In the face of clashing differences, conflict erupted, and peace gave way to war. The defeated, wearied and worn, left behind the only home they knew, their footsteps heavy with loss. Their journey had just begun. Amidst the chaos stood Alta, the seer, gifted with the language of the stars. She called to the leaders and spoke of the north, of a land where the earth bloomed with green, and life awaited those who dared to find it. Her voice was woven with wisdom, her eyes alight with visions of a new beginning. They journeyed north, bound by Alta's words and the stars above. Each step a prayer, each glance a farewell. They would cross mountains and plains, their spirits holding the weight of an ancient world left behind. Each step claimed a sacrifice, the laughter of a child, the wisdom of an elder, the strength of a warrior, all left in the dust of this unknown path. But with every loss, their resolve only deepened. They would not turn back. Their tools were crude but strong, sharpened stones, woven baskets, spears hewn from wood. Their hands bore the marks of survival, crafting each tool not just to live, but to create and protect. They had become the architects of their fate. The Green Sahara opened its arms, a land of promise and plenty. They had found what they sought, though it demanded their strength and will. In these new lands, they would build anew, carving hope from earth and sun. Yet among them were those who felt the pull of a further journey. They had tasted the unknown, and it spurred them onward, their eyes fixed on lands unseen. Beyond the horizon lay a boundless expanse, and they could not ignore its call. The great sea met them with ancient tides, testing their will. But they pressed on, driven by the yearning for new lands. And when the journey seemed endless, the distant shore rose to greet them, their dream made real. In those distant valleys, they found life unfurling in vibrant colors, a new world cradled by nature's gentle hand. Here at last, they would plant the seeds of tomorrow. The journey's end was also a beginning. Their journey, written among the stars, carved by loss and resilience, ended here. Alta whispered to the heavens, the story of their wandering sealed in starlight. They would live on, bound by the legacy of the bear's guiding light, each of them a spark in the endless night. In the shadow of Mount Elgon, the tribes lived under the watchful gaze of the stars. The ancient wisdom of the heavens guided their steps and warned of dangers unseen. But this time, something new glimmered in the night sky, bearing an omen that none could ignore. A comet, brilliant and fierce, the hunters of the stars called it Neowise. The comet came as a hunter, pursuing the bear's cub, Kochab. To the stargazers, this was an omen, a warning of hard days ahead. They whispered of old tales, of celestial battles that brought both hope and despair. Soon after, the world changed. Winter descended like a relentless predator, dragging icy claws across the land. The hunters searched for prey, but the animals were gone, their trails buried under frost. The land grew silent and the forest empty. Hunger gnawed at the tribes. The earth withheld her fruits, and the forests stood barren. Day by day, hope faded as survival became a distant memory. The people looked to the stars for answers, but only silence answered their prayers. Desperation drives men to dark places. When there were no animals left to hunt, they looked to each other. The strong turned against the weak, breaking ancient laws. The forbidden act was done, and with it, they invited a curse upon themselves. The elders knew the price of breaking the ancient pact. Their voices rose in sorrow, invoking the spirits, but the curse had already taken root, its shadows entwined with their fate. In their despair, they awaited a second comet, Tsuchinshan, the healer or destroyer. It was foretold that when Tsuchinshan came, it would either bring warmth to the land or end the tribe's suffering in finality. With hope fading, the tribes moved northward, seeking any sign of life. Each step was a struggle, a prayer for survival as they journeyed through lands they once called home, now unrecognizable under winter's grasp. At last, the comet Tsuchinshan appeared, its fiery tail stretching across the heavens. Beneath its light, the tribes huddled together, awaiting their fate. Would the comet's warmth awaken the land, or was it the harbinger of a final end? In the wake of Tsuchinshan's passing, the earth softened and life returned. Rivers sang once more, and trees donned green robes. The curse lifted, and with it came a rebirth, a fragile peace woven with the memory of loss and survival. Their journey etched in the stars, the tribes were forever changed. The heavens had spoken, leaving behind both curse and cure. As they moved forward, they carried the wisdom of the stars and the strength forged in darkness. As the unforgiving winter spread its icy grasp over the land, only faint echoes of life remained. Orna, the last woman of her tribe, clung desperately to survival, her infant held close. Alongside a few weary men, Orna sought shelter on the mountain's edge, escaping the perils of the savannah. Yet hunger and cold gnawed at their bodies, hollowing their spirits. For 6 days, Orna had been without food. With the last of her strength, she fed her child before collapsing, her gaze lifting to the heavens, a silent plea for salvation. Then through the curtain of mist, a shadow appeared. From the light he came, his hair white as snow, his skin pale as the moon, seeming as though he belonged to another world. Wisdom beyond time shone in his gaze. He approached the weary men first, offering them food and water, gifts they could scarcely believe. Exhausted, they could only accept, grateful for this mysterious stranger's mercy. Then he turned to Orna. Her time had passed, but in her child, life still flickered. With great care, he lifted the baby from the cold mud and breathed upon it. 3 gentle breaths, as if life itself flowed from his lips. On the 3rd breath, the infant gasped and cried, a sound that broke the silence, a signal of new life. For the first time in days, hope returned to the tribe's hearts. And in that very moment, as if the heavens themselves had answered, the Tsuchinshan comet pierced the night, its light not only heralding the end of winter's reign, but bearing the promise of life renewed. The stranger looked upon the child, their gazes locked in a silent exchange. In that moment, he gifted the tribe a future, and then, as quietly as he arrived, he vanished into the mist, leaving behind only hope. Under the comet's watchful glow, the tribe saw in Orna's child a new beginning. They believed that Tsuchinshan's passing had signaled not only the end of darkness, but the dawn of a new age. In the early mornings of our ancient world, life stirs with the rising sun. In tropical rainforests, valleys, and desert oases, tribes begin their routines. Men sharpen their tools, women craft and prepare, and children learn through play. The environment, though diverse, shares a common rhythm, the pursuit of survival. Home is shaped by the land. In the forests, branches and clay create cool shelters. By rivers and springs, reeds and mud provide protection. In the hills, caves offer safety from predators. Across regions, these structures reflect the resilience and creativity of humanity. The hunt unites them. Spears and nets bring down prey in forests and deserts, while waters yield their bounty to those who dare to cast their nets. Every region offers sustenance, but only to those who work in harmony with nature. After the day's labors, joy ignites in the glow of firelight. Music, Laughter and dance connect them to one another and to the world around them. In celebration, they honor the life they fight to sustain. Trade bridges their worlds. Across mountains, rivers, and seas, tribes share goods, ideas, and stories. From the blonde-haired seafarers come vessels and tools. From the land dwellers, hides and food. Each exchange brings knowledge, fostering connections that defy distance. When nature tests them, they endure. Storms and floods may take what they have built, but the tribes rebuild stronger each time. In every trial lies renewal, and in every loss, a lesson for the future. Beneath trees and firelight, wisdom shapes their future. Councils deliberate on hunts, trades, and alliances. Each voice carries the weight of experience, for in unity lies the strength to face what lies ahead. Driven by hope, they journey forward. Across valleys, forests, and seas, they seek new lands, new opportunities. In their hands, they carry the tools of their survival. In their hearts, the unyielding spirit of humanity. Together they move toward the unknown, carrying with them the dream of a brighter future. These lands, now submerged beneath the Mediterranean's waters, were once home to one of humanity's most enigmatic civilizations. Their world now rests in silence, preserved in an underwater graveyard. The land of the fair-haired people was a paradise on Earth, and it would remain so until the Mediterranean claimed it beneath its waves. To these people, the Earth was not just a resource, but a sacred trust. Every harvest was seen as a gift from nature, a symbol of their bond with the land. This society had mastered the language of stone. Their architecture was more than shelter. It was a testament to their unity with nature. For these people, family and community were the cornerstones of life. Stories passed down their history, and their togetherness sowed hope for the future. Nature was their teacher and companion. The language of plants and stones was the guiding force of this civilization. The sky was their first guide. By watching the dance of the stars, they learned the flow of time and the secrets of direction. Art was the mirror of their soul. Every line told a story. Every symbol held meaning. The leaders of this society were not only strong but wise. Their guidance maintained harmony and order within the civilization. Necessity sparked creativity. Every material offered by nature was transformed into a new purpose in their hands. In this society, knowledge wasn't just an individual treasure. It was a shared legacy between generations. Each new symbol carried the essence of a discovery, a story, and wisdom. Wood and stone were the cornerstone of this civilization's engineering marvels. Mechanisms like water mills channeled the forces of nature to serve humanity's needs. By transforming nature's materials, these people made life easier. Beeswax and resin were used to create waterproof coatings and durable tools. The light of nature became a tool for science. Stone lenses and mirrors were used to bridge distances and magnify small details. Advanced storage methods ensured not just the preservation of food, but also the continuity of knowledge and life. Every container carried the promise of survival. Sound was more than a communication tool. It was a source of energy and movement. Acoustic waves gave a new voice to the language of nature. Biological processes were among their energy sources. Algae and plants served not only as food, but also as a means of energy generation. Crystals played a crucial role in storing and transmitting energy. The power of the sun was captured within these stones, ready to be used when needed. By understanding the speed and power of light, they built their own communication networks. Distances were no longer a barrier. This civilization mastered the art of genetic modification through natural methods. More resilient and productive species revolutionized both agriculture and livestock. Learning from nature, this society developed simple yet effective ways to control their environment. The dance of steam and water made living spaces more hospitable. The sky was not just a mystery to this civilization. It was a guide. Their rituals sought to understand the universe's order and live in harmony with it. They were open not only to their own community, but also to others around them. Trade became a bridge for exchanging goods, knowledge, and friendship. This civilization saw consciousness not just as an individual experience, but as a universal connection. Energy and awareness permeated every aspect of life. Oceans were not barriers, but horizons to be explored. Using nature's wind and currents, they expanded their world and discovered new lands. These monumental structures were not just architectural feats, but reflections of a shared dream. Every stone symbolized collective effort and unity. This civilization saw nature not as a resource, but as a partner. Every space they used was designed to be returned to the earth. The sky was an endless source of inspiration for their quest for discovery. By charting the stars, they sought to understand both the world and the cosmos. Understanding the flow of time played a vital role in shaping their lives. Every moment was lived in harmony with the cycles of nature. The traces of this civilization remind us of the forgotten wealth of the past. Yet this story opens the door to even more questions waiting to be explored. "74,000 years ago, Earth stood at the dawn of human evolution. The serene landscape of the Toba region in Sumatra was a thriving habitat, surrounded by lush forests and life-giving waters. But beneath this peaceful surface, an unimaginable force was brewing, deep within the Earth's crust. For millions of years, the Toba magma chamber grew, pushing the Earth's crust to its limits. The increasing pressure foretold the impending catastrophe. The Toba region was a paradise of biodiversity, a cradle of life teeming with species uniquely adapted to this fertile environment. Nature sounded its warnings. Tremors shook the ground, steam hissed from fissures, and even the animals seemed to sense the great danger approaching. Then, it happened. In a single moment, Earth's crust could no longer contain the immense power beneath it. The Toba supervolcano unleashed one of the most violent eruptions in history, forever altering the planet. A massive fire column erupts from the lake bed, spewing molten rock and ash tens of kilometers into the sky. The horizon darkens within moments as volcanic debris rains down. Toba's explosion tore apart 2,800 cubic kilometers of Earth, ejecting ash and molten rock high into the atmosphere. The sheer force of the eruption was unparalleled in human history. The eruption created a towering ash plume that circled the Earth, blocking sunlight and plunging the planet into darkness. In India, lake beds collected ash layers up to 3 meters thick, while a global average ash layer of 1 to 2 centimeters coated the Earth. Lava flows incinerated everything in their path. In mere hours, Toba's surroundings were transformed into a barren wasteland. The Toba eruption was not a localized disaster. It changed the world. For 6 to 10 years, Earth was shrouded in a volcanic winter, a trial of survival for every living being. Millions of tons of sulfur dioxide were released into the stratosphere, forming a barrier that blocked sunlight. Global temperatures plummeted, and darkness blanketed the Earth. In Greenland's ice cores, scientists found sulfur traces dating back 75,000 years. These layers reveal the magnitude of Toba's impact on Earth's atmosphere. Toba's ash blanketed regions far from its source, with evidence preserved in lake sediments across South Asia. The global reach of this eruption remains unmatched in scale. Toba Lake, formed in the aftermath of the eruption, is a natural wonder. It stands as both a monument to destruction and a symbol of renewal. Recent discoveries of volcanic glass, animal fossils, and stone tools near Toba show that life existed before, during, and after the eruption. These findings provide a window into a distant past forever altered by this event. "74,000 years ago, the Earth was cloaked in darkness as the Toba supervolcano erupted, casting ash into the skies. The heavens turned gray, the sun faded, and humanity entered the longest winter in history. Gases and debris spread across the atmosphere, altering climates, silencing rivers, and killing animals and plants. Even the fertile lands of Central Africa could not escape this devastation. Tribes were scattered, starving and freezing. Each new day brought more destruction. Nature was no longer a nurturing mother, but an unforgiving adversary. Sheltering in caves, the few who survived turned on each other. The strong endured, the weak perished. Yet even in this darkness, the spark of humanity did not fully extinguish. A mother clutched her child tightly to keep them warm. A hunter shared the last morsel of food, ensuring the survival of his tribe. Those who survived this era were not only physically strong, but also spiritually resilient. This 6-year winter was humanity's ultimate test. Those who emerged from the ashes rebuilt themselves, carrying the memory of this catastrophe in their stories and myths. It was a lesson in the fragile balance with nature, one that would echo through time. "74,000 years ago, the Earth was plunged into darkness. The eruption of the Toba supervolcano sent ash and gases into the skies, blotting out the sun and bringing forth a 6-year-long winter. Life, once abundant, teetered on the edge of extinction. Yet along the Mediterranean coast, a civilization endured. Harnessing geothermal energy, they cultivated warmth in the cold and food in the barren. Their technology shielded them from the world's suffering. Beyond their walls, desperation reigned. The tribes, once trading partners and allies, now begged for help. But fear of disease and dwindling resources hardened the hearts of the isolated. The leaders decreed isolation. Their gates closed, their resources hoarded, their compassion extinguished. Survival became their only creed, no matter the cost. Not all agreed with this heartless decree. Some, moved by compassion, sought to aid those suffering, but their voices were drowned by fear and pragmatism. The tribes dwindled. Disease ravaged their camps. Famine turned brother against brother. Their pleas echoed against the fortified walls, but found no answer. Amidst the isolation, acts of defiance emerged. Small gestures of kindness, risky and forbidden, offered fleeting hope to the suffering. But kindness was punished, labeled as betrayal. The city turned inwards, forsaking not only their neighbors, but the essence of their humanity. One final plea rose from the ashes, a voice weathered by time, asking not for food, but for memory. "Remember us," he whispered, as the gates stood silent. The winter ended, but the scars remained. Those who survived rebuilt, their stories of betrayal and resilience shaping a new era. History would remember the city not for its strength, but for its silence. 5 years had passed. The eruption of Toba swallowed the world in its wrath. The falling ash buried not only the land, but also hope. Babies no longer cried, because none survived. Tribes vanished one by one, while the fires of the great fortress still burned like an eternal hell. That day, the last child died. Umai broke tradition. She refused to return the child to nature and instead shielded it with stones. She made a promise to return and see that child again. Umai was no longer just a mother. She had become the last hope of the tribes.
5 winters have passed. Spring never came. Our allies shut their doors and thousands of us perished. But now it is time to build a new home. Boramiti from the great fortress showed me the way. We will cross the great sea, follow the rising sun, and traverse the mountains. Beyond the 2 rivers lies life.
Umai walked ahead. No one else knew the way, but they all followed her. She had become the symbol of their last, fragile hope. They walked for days and slept hungry for nights. But at last, the Valley of the Sun revealed itself. Between the 2 rivers, life awaited them, ready to bloom again. Umai never forgot the promise she made to the child. Here, in this land, life would bloom once again. Children would laugh, and the stars would guide them once more.
This is our new home. Our fire will burn bright here. The sun will greet us, and the stars. The stars will speak to us again. Our children will smile once more.
Umai Valley was a bridge between the stars and humanity. Every 7 winters, tribes gathered here to celebrate the name of Umai. The festival fire was a symbol of unity and hope. This gathering was more than a celebration. It was a time for trade, friendship, and renewing bonds. The valley's rivers and stars guided their lives. But this year, whispers began to spread through Umai Valley. It was said that the tribes west of the Purna River were meeting with forbidden outsiders, blonde strangers who defied the sacred laws of Umai. The chieftain of the tribes hunting near the sources of the Purna and Adna rivers shouted before the assembly, "This brotherhood ends here. We cannot share this land with those who betray Umai's laws." The mountain tribes, loyal to Umai's laws, declared their decision to retreat north. To them, the blonde outsiders were harbingers of death. The brotherhood was broken. The sea tribes also chose to leave, heading east to find a new homeland. For them, Umai Valley would soon be a memory. Umai would now be remembered only in the heavens. The Venus star carried her light, but this division marked a new chapter for Mesopotamia. To the children of Umai, the blonde strangers were a threat. They were seen as bringers of chaos and death to this sacred land. The mountain tribes walked north, seeking a new beginning under Umai's shadow. Each step was guided by the stars above. The smoke rising from the valley was not just the remains of a celebration, but the echo of a shattered brotherhood. Yet the children of Umai, guided by the stars, would continue to write their own destiny. The mountain tribes, vast in number, gathered one last time before parting ways. 2 paths stretched before them, one to the northern peaks, the other to the western riverbanks. This would be their final meeting for 20 solar cycles. To preserve their unity and honor Umai, the tribes divided their fates. One would brave the cold northern mountains, while the other would seek the bountiful lands along Adna's western banks. Both paths promised peril and hope. Preparations began in earnest. The tribes wove their defenses against the unknown. Furs for the cold, spears for predators, and prayers for the unknown. With blessings whispered to the winds and smoke rising to the heavens, the tribes began their journeys. Their hearts heavy, their spirits resolute, they carried the name of Umai into the wilderness. The northern path tested their endurance. Snow-laden peaks and howling winds sought to break their spirits. But the tribe pressed on, guided by the stars and their faith in Umai. The western path held its own perils. Predators and disease tested their resolve. Yet the flowing waters of Adna promised life and sustenance. They built shelters to endure the nights, one in the frozen embrace of the mountains, the other in the shadow of the river's winding path. Each tribe carried the spirit of Umai in their hands and hearts. Though separated by great distances, the tribes remained united under the watchful eye of Umai. Venus, their eternal star, bound them as one. After 20 cycles of the sun, they returned. Weathered and changed, they brought with them the next generation. The valley's fire roared once more, a beacon of their enduring bond. They gathered not just to share their stories, but to renew their bond. In the name of Umai, their children carried forward the promise to meet again. Under the eternal light of Venus, they would never forget. The sea tribes, frail compared to their mountain kin, feared the long journey ahead. Their boats were humble, meant only for daily fishing, not for crossing the unknown. Yet the path of Umai called to them, and they chose to leave, knowing they would never return. They prepared for the impossible, gathering what little they had. Tools, furs, and planks of wood would serve them in the days to come, as they set their sights on the distant east. Under the watchful gaze of the moon, they sought Umai's blessing one last time. The sea, their cradle and their challenge, would be both ally and adversary. With heavy hearts, they left their home. Each step away from the sea felt like abandoning their essence, but they carried their faith in Umai and the hope of a new beginning. The land was not kind to those born of the sea. The forests whispered of dangers, and the rivers tugged at their resolve. Yet they pressed on, guided by the memory of Umai. They reached the edge of the forest, only to be met by the great unknown. The plains stretched endlessly, their goal hidden beyond the horizon. Doubt crept into their hearts as the nights grew colder. Yet they found strength in the stories of Umai and in the warmth of their shared struggle. They reached a haven where the trees offered their strength and the waters promised life. Here they built the vessels that would carry their legacy. They said goodbye, not only to their old lives, but to the fears that bound them. With lanterns floating away like memories, they turned to face the east. They left behind the sea, but not the spirit of Umai. Under her guiding star, they sailed toward the unknown, carrying hope, faith, and the promise of a new beginning. 74,000 years ago, in what is now northern Spain, a small tribe of Neanderthals roamed the frozen lands, surviving on the edge of extinction. For 5 long winters, the sun offered little warmth, and the earth grew barren. In the south, the fair-haired people with whom they traded for shells and salt had vanished. The tribe waited, but no one came. Hunger grew fierce, and desperation became their guide. Driven by hunger, they turned north, raiding abandoned shelters, chasing whispers of survival. One frigid evening, they stumbled upon a cave, its mouth dark and yawning like a silent invitation. Sidron Cave. Inside, a small family huddled in fear. 3 figures who had nothing to offer but their meager existence. The leader of the tribe had faced this choice before. His people demanded meat. But here, there was only weakness. Desperation silenced compassion. The family's cries echoed against the stone walls, lost to the howling wind outside. The tribe stayed in the cave, sheltered by its walls, but haunted by its silence. The fire burned low, its embers reflecting the darkness in their hearts. When the wind changed, they moved on. But Sidron stayed with them, a shadow in their souls. Even now, the wind whispers through Sidron Cave, carrying the story of a time when survival came at the cost of humanity. In the shadow of Croatia's ancient mountains, a tribe stirred with purpose. The 7-year cycle had come full circle, and the Xnythrax festival called them southward. The people worked tirelessly, crafting treasures from the spoils of their hunt. The tribe had harvested the gifts of the land: skins of bison, bones of rhinos, tusks of boars, and delicate ornaments carved from the teeth of marmots. These treasures would be their currency. With their goods prepared, they set forth. The journey to Xnythrax was swift but arduous, the trails winding through dense forests and over jagged hills. As the sun set over Xnythrax, the sacred lake revealed itself, its golden sands stretching wide to welcome the tribes. Tents dotted the shore, and the air buzzed with life. This was a place of harmony. No blade was drawn, no theft dared, for this was sacred ground where peace reigned and joy flourished. The festival was alive. Young warriors and maidens danced around towering fires, their shadows leaping against the starry sky. Drums and flutes wove an ancient melody. By day, the trade grounds became the heart of the festival. Bone flutes, intricate necklaces, and carved talismans passed from hand to hand, each piece telling a story. The blue stones were the most coveted of all. Believed to bring beauty and luck, they carried the weight of dreams and aspirations. As night fell again, the tribes gathered for a feast. Bison roasts turned over fires, and the rich aroma of stew filled the air. This was a time for stories and shared laughter. When the festival ended, the tribes carried its spirit back to their lands. Xnythrax was more than a place. It was a bond, a memory, and a promise of return. From the misty forests of the Balkans, a group of tall, broad-shouldered hunters emerged, their figures commanding and foreign. They spoke in a tongue unfamiliar to the short, stocky people of the valley. The strangers raised their hands in a gesture of peace. The valley people, hesitant but intrigued, responded with their own rudimentary greeting. With hesitant trust, the valley people led the strangers to their village. There, the newcomers' tools and garments captured every gaze. Among the newcomers was a young hunter with striking blue eyes. His presence drew the attention of the valley's young women, who whispered and giggled from the shadows. As the fire burned bright, the valley people prepared a simple feast. The strangers joined the celebration, their laughter blending with the crackling flames. The warmth of the evening gave way to the cold dread of dawn. The strangers awoke to find one of their own missing. Words failed, but anger bridged the gap. The strangers demanded answers, Their gestures sharp and accusatory, the valley people recoiled, their fear growing. With no resolution, the strangers were driven away. The valley people, armed with crude spears, forced them back into the forest. Before disappearing into the trees, the strangers shouted promises of their return. They vowed to reclaim what was lost, whether through peace or vengeance. As winter's chill began to fade, the valley people looked to the horizon, their hearts heavy with the fear of what spring might bring. "60,000 years ago, a group of primitive seafarers left the cradle of Mesopotamia. Their destination was unknown, their journey perilous. Yet they were driven by a deep longing to explore and survive. The seafarers navigated treacherous waters, guided only by the stars. Each wave was a challenge, every gust of wind a gamble. Their journey led them to towering mountain ranges, an intimidating barrier between them and the fertile lands they sought. Exhausted but determined, they finally arrived at verdant plains. Yet the unfamiliarity of the land weighed on them. In these lands, the stars they had trusted were hidden by clouds. Without their celestial guides, they felt lost. Here, they met uninvited guests, thieves who moved like shadows, stealing what little the seafarers had. When they captured some of these thieves, they were struck by their resemblance to themselves. But there were differences: narrow eyes, dark hair, frail bodies. Some among the seafarers wished to stay in these fertile lands. Others, driven by curiosity and restlessness, yearned to push further east. Finally, they parted ways. Those who stayed hoped to build a new life, while the rest ventured into the unknown, chasing the promise of discovery. The journey was far from over. As the travelers ventured east, they carried with them the spirit of their ancestors, a spirit that sought, endured, and dreamed. The seafarers from Mesopotamia continued their voyage, their small boats slicing through uncharted waters. They carried with them the ancient wisdom of their ancestors and a deep longing for a new home. The islands of the South China Sea became their sanctuary. With fertile lands and abundant resources, they began to spread and flourish. They explored the surrounding islands with small boats, their navigational skills honed by generations of stargazing. Occasionally, they encountered small native tribes, but as time passed, these tribes seemed to vanish, leaving the seafarers alone in their growing domain. As they adapted to their new life, they began to forget the oaths and origins that had once defined them. The stars, once sacred symbols, became mere tools for navigation. In time, they began to trade with the blonde-haired tribes, once enemies of their ancestors. This trade brought prosperity, but also dissent. One among them refused to accept this new life. Speaking the ancient tongue, he reminded them of their forgotten oaths and warned of the dangers of forgetting their roots. The seafarers, now content with their new life, saw him as a threat. They cast him out, banishing him to the farthest southern seas. Without the voice of dissent, the seafarers fully embraced their new identity. They thrived, yet the echoes of their past lingered in the stars. Far to the south, the exile ventured into unknown waters, carrying the memories of a forgotten oath. His journey was a solitary one, but it was far from over. Abogu, cast out by his people, carried with him a face that told of his lineage: dark skin, black hair, a broad nose, prominent cheekbones, and a wide mouth. With his family, he ventured into the unknown, paddling their small canoes toward the farthest island they could imagine. They arrived at a land unlike any they had known. Strange creatures bounded across the open plains, while others lurked in the shadows of dense forests. This was Australia, a place of both wonder and challenge. Though deeply tied to his ancestors and their stories, Abogu chose to leave the past behind. In this new world, he focused on survival and building a life for his children. 3 generations later, the stories of Abogu's people were forgotten. His descendants only knew the land they lived on and the life they had built. One day, the skies were filled with the hum of strange flying vessels. Blonde-haired people descended, unlike anything Abogu's descendants had ever seen. The blonde visitors stayed for a time, sharing knowledge and resources. To Abogu's descendants, these visitors were nothing short of gods. As suddenly as they had arrived, the visitors departed. Their flying crafts disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind a mixture of wonder and loss. With their departure, the blondes became the stuff of legend. Stories of their divine presence were passed down, growing more mystical with each retelling. Generations later, the memory of the blondes was no longer history, but a dream. Their story became a bridge between reality and imagination. And so, the descendants of Abogu carried on, their lives shaped by the land, their stories shaped by the skies, and their dreams forever marked by the fleeting presence of the gods they once knew. Leaving fertile lands is difficult. However, for the people of the mountains, survival meant searching for new homelands. As Mesopotamia was left behind, the uncertainty of the future lay ahead. Every step was a new trial. The mountain passes were rocky, and the weather was merciless. Women carried their children while men remained vigilant against dangers. This path was one where only the strong would survive. The true owners of the mountains, the hungry wolves, emerged in the darkness. These attacks became moments where both courage and wisdom were tested. Life and death were as close as a single breath. The travelers faced their first enemies. These red-haired, high-browed tribes tracked like shadows, attacking whenever they found an opportunity. The attacks had left great losses behind. Supplies dwindled, and hope was shattered. Yet there was no turning back. The journey had to continue. The hardships of the mountains were left behind. Vast grasslands and a great river promised hope for a new beginning. However, this was only a harbinger of new challenges. When night fell, fire was not just a source of warmth. It was a beacon of hope. Ideas were shared, and plans were made to establish a new homeland. Life on the steppe both challenged and reshaped people. Shelters were built with the limited resources at hand. Survival in these lands required solidarity. The Red Tribes came again, this time in greater numbers and with more courage. But the mountain people were prepared. The first battle would set the new rules of life. Winter revealed its harsh face on the steppe. Every breath became a struggle. Hunger and disease were the harshest teachers of this new life. They had to learn in order to survive. Even their enemies became a source of knowledge. This land was theirs now. They had to learn how to endure here. New enemies, new threats. Survival meant facing even greater trials. Uniting, fighting, and protecting were now necessities. 7 years passed. For the sacredness of Umayana, it was time to return to Mesopotamia. This journey was the key to connecting with the past and shaping the future. The journey was not just a return. It was also an exploration of the unknown. Mysterious caves whispered the voices of the past. Returning to Mesopotamia was not a victory. This was no longer their homeland. Their new life would take shape on different lands with different struggles. The first lights of dawn echoed in the endless waves of the steppe. 50,000 years ago, these lands were the kingdom of hunters and the wind. The dark-haired tribe was preparing for a new hunt with the first light of day. However, the steppe was not always peaceful. To survive here, one had to be strong. On the edge of the steppe, another tribe wandered among the shadows, the red-bearded ones. They were also after prey, but this time their targets might not be just animals. The dark-haired tribe watched from afar. What they didn't know was that a much bigger secret awaited them in the depths of the forest. Inside the forest, there was an unknown life. As the red-bearded ones moved silently, they sensed a movement in the shadows. But the forest people were as fast as the wind. They disappeared in an instant. The spirit of the forest did not accept strangers. They were not used to living in captivity. The steppe people set the forest people free. But the forest people were as mysterious as their liberation. They quickly disappeared. Every tribe had a spirit, and that spirit was shaped in their totems. The gray wolf was the symbol of hunting and power, the sun of wisdom, the deer of elegance, the river of abundance, the forest of mystery. These totems would determine the fate of the tribes. The night of the steppe was for lone wolves and hunters. The hunters of the gray wolf tribe advanced, listening to the whispers of the wind. Silence was their weapon. Their eyes picked out their prey from among the shadows. Taut boughs, the whisper of arrows, and the inevitable silence of death. To survive in the steppe, it was not enough to be just a hunter. The Redbeards had discovered salt. For them, salt was as precious as blood. They made sharp knives from bones and bartered them for salt. But nothing was free in the steppe. Other tribes also wanted this white treasure. When the sun rose, the shaman of the Sun tribe looked to the sky. The prophecy was clear. Before the sun sets, the land will be washed with blood. But those who follow the light will find a new path. The silence of the steppe was the harbinger of the coming storm. Time flowed differently in the forest. The trees had stood for thousands of years, and the sound of the wind told the spirits of those who lived there. The forest tribe was like the shadows in nature. Before they saw their enemies, they would hear their breaths. The laws of the steppe were simple. The strong survive. But this time, power was leading to a war that would upset the balance. The black hairs and the red beards came face to face over an unshared prey. The sun was watching the first spark of war. When the moon rose, the wise man of the river tribe looked into the water. The river told not only the past, but also the future. The stars sliding on the water carried the secret of the sky. "The night will be long," said the old wise man. "But when morning comes, nothing will be the same again." War was inevitable in the steppe. But this time, another decision was made instead of war. The leaders of the 5 tribes gathered around the fire. The spears raised to the sky marked the beginning of a new era. Now they would be one people. The laws of the steppe were changing. The ancient law of the steppe was clear. If blood was to be shed, it had to be offered first to the sky god Tengri and the mother goddess Umai. The leaders of the 5 tribes found the only way to stop the war. Goats were sacrificed, and the flames rose to the sky. The shape of the smoke whispered the future. Now they were blood brothers. The fate of the steppe was changing. Greymane had seen many battles. He knew hunting, justice, and patience. The eyes of the 5 tribes were on him. He thrust the spear in his hand into the ground and swore, "The steppe brotherhood will be as free as the wind, as everlasting as the sun." Eagles were watching from the sky. A new era was beginning. Every warrior carried the honor of his tribe. The youths of the 5 tribes walked, listening to the sound of the wind. The test that awaited them was the test of courage, loyalty, and brotherhood. The shadows were long, the night was cold. But when the sun rose, the true warriors would be chosen. When the moon rise, Greymane looked to the sky. The words of the old shaman echoed, "The bear has not yet come out of its den. For now, we must walk with the Ursa Major." And at that moment, a bear's howl came from afar. Nature had approved their decisions. The 5 tribes became one people. No longer were they the gray wolf, the black hare, or the river people. They were the children of the steppe. When the sun rose, a new era began. Tengri and Umai would protect them. The wind was whispering their name. Their stories would be told for generations. For the people of the steppe, time is written in the sky. Each 7-year cycle is completed with the successive appearance of 3 comets. When the 3rd one appears, the chosen group sets out. They do this as their ancestors did. Following an ancient tradition, they heed the call of the stars. After 7 years, those who come from the steppe arrive in Mesopotamia. Here they meet with old friends, and in the marketplace they barter goods inherited from their ancestors. Fires burn, music rises, laughter and tales adorn the nights. They are the ones who come from distant lands, the fair-haired ones, in shining metal garments that seem to have descended from the sky, carrying long spears. When they speak, the people of Mesopotamia listen in silence. The eyes of the steppe warriors drift towards the gleaming metal weapons. As the hunters listen to the stories of the fair-haired ones, the desire within them grows. To become stronger, to acquire what they possess. A new dream begins to question the old traditions. The festival ends, and the people of the steppe set out on the long journey once again. But for some, this is not a return, but a questioning. The hunters, caught between traditions and new stories, reflect on what the fair-haired ones told them over and over again throughout the night. The vessel glides down from the heavens, following the forgotten paths of the past as it approaches the Indus Valley. A civilization that defies time has come to these lands countless times. Each time they arrived, they were welcomed like gods descending from the sky. But they were not gods. They were merely those who had gone further. The crystals emerge from the deepest veins of these lands. Those who unearth them spend their days digging, unaware of their true value. But the ones who come from the sky know. To them, these crystals mean power, knowledge, and journey. The Vimana descends, casting its shadow over the mine. The arrivals were different. Their skin was pale, their gaze deep. Their garments were made of neither leather nor woven plants. The objects they carried in their hands were creations of a technology beyond the understanding of the local people. But they were not new here. They had come countless times before, and they had taken countless times before. These are no ordinary stones. They are crystals that have matured in the veins of the earth for thousands of years, carrying pure energy. Those who extract them may not understand their purpose, but they sustain their lives by giving the visitors what they seek. And now, as the containers fill, another cycle is complete. They came, they took, and they left. This was neither the first nor the last time. The local people will remember them until the wind erases their traces, and the crystals will wait, deep within the earth, until they gather once more. But those who dwell in the sky never wait. They always return. The sons of the heavens reached out to the children of the earth. The man with golden hair, clad in garments woven with light, spoke to the primitive warriors. He promised them that by defeating their legendary enemies, they would join his glorious kingdom. Those who came from beyond the stars were seeking new warriors. For the first time, the primitives were so close to the sky. As the ship glided upwards in a blue light, a new world was opening before their eyes. The Crystal City stood like a throne above the clouds. Now their destiny was written not only on the earth, but also among the stars. In the land of ice, immortal giants awaited. Creatures descended from Fenrir were ready to destroy everything, to protect the sacred glow of the crystal. But the sons of the heavens had to be here for victory. As the storm of war rose, the first drops of blood began to fall on the snow. Victory did not come easily. The enemies were defeated, but the warriors had suffered losses. In the cold silence of the ice, the sons of the heavens took the crystal. The energy would be carried beyond the stars and strengthen the kingdom of heaven. And finally, the warriors sat at the heavenly table. In the palace of the heavens, under the crystal lights, the celebration of victory began. Now they were part of the Sky Kingdom, but this was only the beginning. Before the Holocene epoch, a great civilization reigned in the now submerged regions of the Mediterranean. They ruled the world with cities they built in the sky, using the power of crystals to transcend boundaries. Trade routes extended to this great city. Flying vehicles, ships crossing the seas. People from all over the world met here, exchanging knowledge and wealth. The civilization did not only trade, it guided primitive tribes all over the world, providing them with knowledge and technology. Thus, order and harmony were ensured in these ancient lands. The council determined the fate of the civilization, which resources would be collected, which regions would be supported. The lords of the skies shaped the balances on earth. When night fell, the city in the sky shone. Ships flying to distant lands set off. The voice of the civilization spread to the world. They were born to rule the stars. A vast city, gliding among the stars, powered by hydrogen plasma. Giant domes shimmering in the sky, towers pulsating with blue-green lights. Its inhabitants are at the pinnacle of wisdom and technology. Yet in another city on Earth, hatred and fear have taken root. Some see them as gods, others as enemies. Hidden assassins stealthily infiltrate the veins of the Sky City. Their weapon is chaos. Explosives planted in the city's energy centers slowly begin their countdown. That night, fire will mingle with the stars, and then, at midnight, the first explosion shakes the domes. Hydrogen plasma generators detonate, columns of fire rise. For a moment, the sky is illuminated by a second sun. As the city convulses in flames, metal giants crash to the ground. Primitive tribes living on Earth watch the great fires rising in the sky. For them, it is a war of the gods. As the fires rise, the clouds darken. The sudden downpour following the explosions brings floods to Earth. Great tidal waves engulf the valleys. Death and destruction reign both in the sky and on the ground. The sky falls silent. The Sky City is gone, consumed by flames and rain. For those on Earth, it is a war of the gods. The fire gods have vanished. The water gods have prevailed. A new era is beginning. The last human to remember those who came from the sky, his hands stained with mud, begins to draw a story born from the ruins. The sky flared once more. The destruction of the Sky City had set the legions in motion. Now they have no purpose but revenge. With their sky vehicles, laser weapons, and all their terrifying technology, they rain death upon the Earth. The sky is ablaze. Massive explosions tear through the sky. The energy from laser weapons ignites even the atmosphere. The heat scorches even those far away. Oceans evaporate. The sky transforms into a fiery hell. The war between the gods becomes their downfall. The warriors of advanced civilizations die one by one. As everything they built is destroyed, only a handful of survivors remain. Yet where everything ends, there is still hope. In the distant mines, primitive miners have survived. They don't understand this war, but they see what's happening in the sky as a curse. While the whole world burns, one city still stands. The last advanced civilization in the Mediterranean. But supply chains are broken, scientists are dead, and the last hopes are dwindling. If this city falls too, no trace will remain. Great cities had long since vanished. Golden towers, brightly lit avenues, powerful crystals, all were lost to history. The last city of the Mediterranean no longer shone. Those who controlled the power of the crystals had died in wars. Great leaders were gone. But the true end had not yet come. Revenge was inevitable. The Rainstone was prepared for the great annihilation. A few men activated this climate control weapon, hidden for centuries, on a mountain peak. The countdown began. The sky would witness their wrath, and the button was pressed. In an instant, dark clouds covered the entire sky. Lightning pierced the heavens, winds turned into hurricanes, storms danced wildly. Rain began to pour down furiously as if to cleanse all the sins of the past. The sea swelled, glaciers melted, floods blocked roads, great waves swallowed the coast. The last city of the Mediterranean was sinking into the water. Without their old technologies, the people were helpless against the rising waters. There was no salvation. As the city slowly sank into the depths, the last tower disappeared from view. The rain stopped, the storm ceased. Only the endless sea and a forgotten civilization remained. There were no witnesses left, no revenge, no hope. After days of storms, the sky finally cleared, but it was too late. The last city of the Mediterranean was submerged in the depths of the water. Its tall towers toppled. Silence. But this was just the beginning of a greater collapse. Even underwater, the destruction did not stop. Cracked walls crumbled. Arches that had stood for centuries were buried in the sand. The once shining crystals of the city were extinguished, lost in the depths of history. But nature did not mourn a lost city. In the depths, a dormant volcano awoke. The first tremors began to shake the ruins beneath the sea. Century-old structures collapsed one by one. A massive explosion, and the city was destroyed once more, with its last remnants. After the volcano erupted, ashes darkened the sky. Rivers overflowed, waterways changed, lava and mud slowly settled over the city. Years passed, and no trace remained. Generations passed, stories were forgotten. The city that once defied the sky was no longer even a legend. The waters covered the ashes, the earth hid the past, and finally, nothing remained. On the seashore, the remnants of a forgotten world lie. The pieces of Sky Town, with their burnt and ruined bodies, are scattered across the beach. What remains of the towers that once pierced the sky are now shapeless piles of metal, eroded by sea salt. Those who once ruled humanity are now lost in the hands of nature. Years have passed. The ocean wind and salt have begun to erase all traces. Metal frames have broken, stones have cracked, memories have vanished. Now on these lands, there are neither sky vehicles nor those who speak of giant cities. Nature silently devours what man has built. Those who once conquered the skies are now gone, but humans continue to fight for survival. Primitive tribes hunt by struggling with nature, build shelters and tell their stories in the warmth of the fire. But in these stories, there is no longer Sky Town, nor the echoes of lost civilizations. The old ones, who once saw the sparkle of flying cities, are now about to take their last breaths. Eyes that looked at the stars have begun to forget the giant flames that once burned there. When the last witnesses die, the past will be nothing more than a vague whisper carried by the wind. Generations have passed. No one knows anymore. Neither the great cities, nor the vehicles gliding in the skies, nor the glory of the past. Sands, oceans, and forests have covered all traces. The last words have been lost in the wind, and now no one remembers. Before the Holocene began, beyond the ages, in an era when the stars set the sky ablaze, humanity had tamed not only fire, but also light itself. Colossal cities, towers reaching into the heavens, and technologies that bent time. Yet this great civilization carried a growing shadow within: greed, arrogance, and insatiable ambition. But within every destruction lies a warning. The sages of Atlantis, the ancient priests of Zep-Tepi, and the bearers of Quetzalcoatl's voice, they had warned humanity before the great cataclysm, yet their voices were lost in the echoes of grandeur. Power does not make man a god. It destroys him. As Zeus and Odin clashed with thunder and spears, the flying warriors of the Mahabharata painted the sky red. Waves of laser weapons swallowed entire cities. Greed, arrogance, and ambition. The final blow came from within. The energy core at the heart of civilization was stolen. Those who sought to claim ultimate power shattered the balance. The sacred temple of light fell, and Ragnarok began. When the great flood arrived, the survivors fled. The Hopi people hid beneath the earth. The priests of Atlantis sealed their knowledge within the waters. The last men of Zep-Tepi were buried deep within the sands. Their descendants rebuilt the old world with nothing but words. Zeus Odin, Quetzalcoatl, the warriors of Mahabharata. All were but echoes of a lost age. The truth was hidden in the shadow of myths. Humanity rose from its ashes, but it lost its memory. And now, on the threshold of a new era, will we heed the voices of the past to avoid the same mistakes? History is a cycle. If we walk the same path once more, one day, our names too will echo only in legend. In this cave bearing the marks of time, the sage's final hours were approaching. As the shadows of the fire danced on the walls, he prepared to impart the wisdom of the past. The tribal leaders and great hunters stepped into the dark entrance of the cave. They'd been summoned to hear the sage's words. Gathering his last strength, the sage began to speak. For many years I have guided you. I have told you the language of nature. Now my time is up, but the order will continue. The leaders and hunters respectfully departed from the sage's presence. However, the young guide Maru remained by his side to receive his master's last advice. Maru, read nature. Watch the sun. Follow the shadows. When foxes run across the sky, expect disasters. Do not forget our knowledge and choose your successor wisely. And so, the sage of the mountain fell into his final sleep. The foxes in the sky had begun to run. 7 years have passed. Star readers awaited the eye of heaven. The comet's return heralded a new era. The sky did not command us to destroy. Therefore, a price was demanded from humans. They will be forgotten. The blondes who lived on the shores. They will not be mentioned even in the sound of the wind. Their temples will be destroyed, their stones buried in the earth. Everything left of them will be destroyed by the command of the stars. The sea carried their memory. The lost stories of the sunken city were in the language of the waves. But now, none of them will be told. None of them will be remembered. Those who knew were silenced. The last symbol, the last light, the last knowledge merged into the infinite sky. The world commanded forgetting. The past was buried. Now there was only one order, the stars and what the world offered to humans. At the dawn of time, humans looked to the sky and saw order. Everything had a cycle, great floods, droughts, births, and deaths. That's why the wise began to watch the sky. The first circle was drawn here, on Mount Elgon. This wisdom spread and transformed over time. Tribes established their own sacred sites. Göbekli Tepe was one of the greatest, but one thing remained unchanged: the Guardians. They would protect the sacred circles and pass on the knowledge. This duty was a legacy carried by blood. The signs from the heavens were always noted. The Star Watchers were the ones who recorded the voices of the gods. They were the last people to read the language of nature. But time changed. The Holocene era began, tribes grew, wars broke out, people became bound to the land, forgetting knowledge. The Guardians lowered their stargazing eyes and fell silent. But not everything is over. The Star Watchers still exist, the last people keeping the record of the world. And one day, when the sky speaks again, humanity will face the forgotten wisdom. History has been erased as much as it has been written, and forgotten as much as it has been told. Countless civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind only stones. But how convincing does conventional history seem to you? Do the Anunnaki or Atlantis sound credible? Or is everything more complex than we imagine? What if in the depths of the unknown, traces of a lost civilization remain hidden? In this documentary, we explore clues pointing to the existence of a lost civilization. What do geology, mythology, archaeology, and history tell us? 500,000 years have passed since the emergence of Homo sapiens. What great secrets are buried in the darkness of those years? Official history only tells the story of the last few thousand years. But humanity is much older. The emergence of Homo sapiens dates back approximately 400,000 years. At the same time, our relatives like Neanderthals and Homo heidelbergensis inhabited different parts of the world. Were they primitive, or did they have a more sophisticated social structure than we assume? Many archaeological phenomena have been discovered worldwide, yet their builders remain unknown. According to recent findings, ancient human communities were far more sophisticated than previously believed. Even the earliest hominins constructed structures, controlled fire, and lived in large groups. But what if this knowledge advanced even further and gave rise to an unknown civilization? The world is not static. Continents shift, seas rise, and land masses transform. 20,000 years ago, the Earth looked very different. Deserts were lush, glaciers extended toward the equator, and much of the Mediterranean and Aegean seas were land. There were no islands between Greece and Anatolia. Everything was connected. Even the Sicily Channel between Morocco and Italy was almost entirely dry. As the Ice Age ended, sea levels rose, land connections disappeared, and coastal cities were submerged. Today, meters of mud and sediment cover the ocean floor. Could ancient settlements lie hidden beneath these layers? Excavations like Göbekli Tepe have revealed massive structures buried beneath the earth. But what if there are entire cities beneath the sea, yet to be discovered? One way to understand human history is by examining mythology. Could ancient myths be echoes of real events? Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria. Could these similar stories from different continents be memories of lost civilizations? Many mythologies speak of a great flood and the destruction that followed. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Noah's flood, Hindu legends, all describe a time when the sea swallowed the land. Could these shared narratives hold clues about an advanced civilization and the catastrophe that erased it? Technology is not exclusive to modern humans. Ancient engineering still holds mysteries that remain unexplained. All over the world, there are structures with advanced stonework. The Egyptian pyramids, the Sacsayhuaman stones in Peru, the Baalbek ruins in Lebanon. They all showcase engineering feats that are difficult to explain, even with today's technology. How were these structures built? Was it mere coincidence that the same techniques were used across different continents, or evidence of shared ancient knowledge? History is not only about building, it is also about destruction. During the Holocene, great wars and invasions wiped out humanity's accumulated knowledge. Rome destroyed Carthage. The Mongols erased entire cities from maps. The Spanish and Europeans decimated the indigenous cultures of the Americas. The Crusades burned centers of knowledge. But what if similar destructions happened in even earlier times? Could the traces of lost civilizations have been completely erased by war and disaster? Many ancient engineering marvels were never rebuilt. Once knowledge is lost, it is not always possible to recover. History may be older than we think, and the origins of civilization may run deeper than we imagine. Could the waters of the Mediterranean conceal the remnants of an unknown civilization? In the coming years, new discoveries may provide answers to these questions. If such a civilization truly existed, its discovery would rewrite human history. And perhaps the past tells a much greater story than we ever imagined. In a galaxy not so far away, a giant star at the end of its life begins to collapse. 2.2 million years ago, it exploded into a supernova, releasing vast amounts of energy. This explosion sent high-energy cosmic rays on a journey through the cosmos. Traveling at nearly the speed of light, they covered the 150 light-year distance to Earth. At this time, Earth was in the Galasian epoch. The planet's climate was changing, and early human ancestors roamed the savannas of Africa. Cosmic rays from the supernova interacted with Earth's atmosphere, potentially contributing to an increase in ionization and affecting cloud formation. Evidence of the supernova was found millions of years later, as scientists uncovered traces of iron-60 isotopes in deep-sea sediments. This rare element is a telltale sign of a supernova. This supernova may have contributed to a cooler climate, influencing both Earth's ecosystems and the evolutionary path of early hominins. Some theories even suggest it could have played a role in a mass extinction. The supernova explosion left its mark not only on Earth but across the galaxy. While it occurred millions of years ago, its impact remains in the cosmos and in our understanding of stellar death and cosmic events. In the infinite darkness of the universe, there lies a small yet powerful blue planet, Earth. Life has flourished here for hundreds of millions of years. Through the Holocene, Pleistocene, and Pliocene epochs, the Earth transformed, life evolved, and humanity emerged. These epochs planted the roots of life, bringing forth great changes and transformations on Earth. The universe sparked the first flames of life, and the sun has kept this flame alive. Earth and the solar system travel within the Orion arm of the Milky Way. Moving at a speed of 514,000 miles per hour, the sun sustains life across its planets. As we orbit through the galaxy's immense spirals, this grand cosmic journey completes a single loop approximately every 225 million years. With each turn, we add another ring to the dance of stardust and cosmic balance. Two formidable defense lines encircle our solar system, the Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt. The Oort cloud forms a shield with billions of icy objects, serving as a barrier against cosmic threats from afar. The Kuiper belt, located closer, adds another layer of protection around the solar system, stabilizing the inner planets. In addition to these galactic shields, Earth itself possesses powerful defenses. The magnetosphere forms a barrier against high-energy particles from the sun and other stars, while the atmosphere filters harmful radiation and cosmic particles, keeping them at bay. Over the past 5 million years, and for the next 5 million, we are safe from significant galactic collisions. The solar system follows a secure orbit, away from major interstellar threats, maintained by the vast distances and cosmic harmony within our galaxy. These protective layers deflect countless dangers, diverting smaller meteors and preventing them from reaching Earth. However, only forces of immense mass, such as a massive celestial body or universal phenomena like neutrinos, gravity, or light itself, could overcome these shields. With no major celestial body on the horizon, what then holds the key to changes here on Earth? The universe, a boundless expanse holding everything, from matter to life itself. How does such an enormous structure work? How does cosmic dust transform into life? Here, on a small yet powerful planet called Earth, these answers lie waiting. Our Earth possesses a powerful shield, the atmosphere, that protects us from the dangers of the galaxy. This barrier stops cosmic rays, meteorites, and other harmful forces, keeping us safe. But the atmosphere is more than just a shield. It's a selective gate, allowing life-sustaining elements inside. The universe isn't just filled with threats. It also carries the seeds of life. Comets, ancient travelers of the galaxy, carry the raw materials for life within them. Perhaps these ancient voyagers delivered the first building blocks of life to Earth. The Earth's atmosphere acts not only as a shield, but as a gateway to life. Like a cell membrane, it blocks the harmful while selectively letting in elements essential for life, synthesizing them to enrich Earth. Early on, cosmic particles interacting with atmospheric reactions set the stage for life. Like electrical currents within a cell, lightning sparks brought the first chemical reactions to life, allowing organic molecules to combine with the energy needed to jumpstart life. If every cell is part of a whole, where do we as humans fit in this grand structure? Are we just creatures on the surface of a planet, or are we part of a greater purpose? On this small planet, human life has uniquely endured. Perhaps like comets, we too are carriers, meant to protect, to understand, and to spread the spark of life across time. As these cosmic forces shape our lives, might the universe have given us a role? In this journey that we're only beginning to understand, could the key to existence lie within us? The universe is not just a silent witness to Earth's history. It is an active participant, weaving cosmic threads into the tapestry of life. For Homo sapiens, the stars above and the radiation they emit may have played a crucial role in shaping our very DNA, our minds, and our destiny. Earth's journey through space is marked by cycles, Milankovitch cycles, that bring glacial ages and temperate periods. These climate shifts created evolutionary crucibles, forcing Homo sapiens to innovate, adapt, and survive. Yet beyond the ice and fire, the stars exert their influence, silently raining cosmic rays upon Earth. Cosmic rays, traveling light years across the void, bombard Earth incessantly. These high-energy particles interact with our DNA, causing mutations. While many mutations fade into obscurity, a few lead to advantages, adaptations that help species thrive. Could these rays have accelerated the evolution of Homo sapiens, crafting the neural pathways of intelligence? Supernovae, cosmic fireworks, are more than spectacles. They send waves of radiation that ripple through space and time, reaching Earth. These cosmic events, though rare, might have contributed to the genetic variation necessary for breakthroughs in Homo sapiens' cognitive abilities, fostering creativity and problem-solving. Earth's magnetic shield, the Van Allen belts, protects us from harmful cosmic radiation. Yet anomalies like the South Atlantic anomaly allow higher radiation levels to penetrate the surface. These hotspots may act as evolutionary testing grounds, challenging human biology to adapt and evolve further. Earth is not static. It wobbles, tilts, and shifts. The precession of its axis and the gravitational pull of the galaxy create subtle but impactful environmental changes. These cosmic forces may have synchronized with earthly processes, amplifying the pressures that drove Homo sapiens to innovate and adapt. Through the interplay of cosmic radiation, climate cycles, and earthly challenges, Homo sapiens emerged, not as a mere product of biology, but as a species shaped by the universe itself. Our intelligence, creativity, and resilience may be echoes of these cosmic influences. As we gaze at the stars, we must remember that they are not just distant lights, but integral parts of our story. The cosmos is within us, influencing our past and shaping our future. What other secrets might the universe hold about our place in its grand design?
In the glow of a flickering fireplace, two scientists debate the universe's mysteries. Their words, veiled in metaphors, drift through the quiet library, where a few onlookers listen in silence. Here, amidst books and embers, the cosmos reveals itself, not through answers, but the questions that endure.
The universe's expansion tells a story, but it's a story whose ending we cannot yet see. Perhaps this expansion is a prelude, a preparation for what comes next. The so-called Big Crunch might not be the end of a cycle, but the very seed of a higher singularity.
The idea of the universe contracting upon itself. But even such a reversal doesn't escape the loop. Expansion and collapse. They're like the inhale and exhale of a cosmic breath. It ends, yes, but only to begin again. Can humanity truly alter this rhythm?
To think humanity cannot change it is to underestimate our place in the cosmos. Look at Moore's law, the exponential growth of technology. In just a few centuries, we could harness Dyson spheres and ascend to a Kardashev Type II civilization.
Moore's law reminds me of entropy. The graph rises sharply at first, but every exponential curve inevitably faces its limits. The second law of thermodynamics is clear. Chaos always increases. Your technological singularity is just a more intricate reflection of this chaos.
Entropy is not a limitation. It's raw material. Chaos can be shaped into order. The singularity isn't just technological progress. It's the process of using chaos to uncover the deeper patterns of the universe. Humanity is a spark within this vast disorder, a conscious creator.
A spark? Perhaps. But even sparks are fleeting. Tachyons come to mind, those particles that defy our understanding of causality. They're fast, transient, and exist beyond reach. What if humanity too is like a tachyon? An ephemeral anomaly in the grand flow of time.
Tachyons, tau neutrinos, particles that challenge the boundaries of what we perceive as matter. What if these particles are guideposts, indicators of a reality beyond the material? The singularity may be our doorway to that realm, where humanity transcends matter and energy itself.
And what happens when humanity crosses that threshold? Does it continue to exist? Or does it dissolve? Consider a Kardashev Type III civilization, one capable of harnessing an entire galaxy's energy. If such civilizations existed, why don't we see their traces? Perhaps it's because existence itself seeks balance, a return to equilibrium.
Or perhaps we see no traces because they've transcended material existence altogether. Fermi's paradox could have an answer. These civilizations might leave the physical plane, evolving into pure energy or consciousness. Humanity could follow this path.
But if humanity reaches that point, can it still be called humanity? Consciousness itself might be an illusion, a fleeting ripple in the infinite ocean of existence. As we try to understand infinity, are we not projecting ourselves onto it, assuming we exist beyond the cycle?
Perhaps the answer lies within the illusion itself. The universe is in a constant state of reshaping. Humanity, by harnessing technology, could become part of that process. Even if it's an illusion, our role in this expansion and reshaping remains significant.
And what if the universe is humanity's mirror, not the other way around? If humanity exists within a loop, it might observe the cycle, but it cannot alter it.
Observing the loop is part of altering it. Perhaps humanity is the catalyst, a way for the universe to see itself, to evolve. If we change, the universe changes.
Or maybe the universe changes us. reshaping its spark into ash to begin again.
As the conversation fades into silence, no minds are swayed, yet both leave enriched by the universe's endless mysteries. The fire dwindles to embers, casting soft shadows across the room. One by one, the onlookers depart, each carrying a piece of the wonder, lost in their own quiet reflections.
In the vast web of life, every loss sends ripples through existence. A final cry, a call of anguish, echoes into the cosmos. In the boundless expanse of the universe, a force awakens to answer a cry. Neither bound by time nor space, it carries the essence of creation. In times of turmoil, guidance comes to those who seek the stars. The healer, a beacon for her people, prepares to deliver a truth that transcends worlds. The cosmos speaks not with words, but through the language of vibrations and particles. A message, ancient and profound, descends to the healer. Ilara, preserve life. Protect the fragile balance. Every being, every breath, is woven into the fabric of existence. The vision is not a warning, but a call to action. To safeguard life is to safeguard the universe itself. Ilara, we are the keepers of this world. We must answer the stars' call. The universe whispers to those who listen. A bridge between realms forms, uniting the cosmic and the earthly. One cry reached the cosmos. One message returned. And in the unity of life, the pulse of the universe beats on. Our journey begins 70,000 years ago, but the story unfolds today. Astrophysicists have turned their telescopes toward the depths of space, tracing the path of a star that once visited our solar system, Schultz's star. Using data from the Gaia satellite, scientists meticulously reconstruct the ancient trajectory of Schultz's star. Each simulation reveals how this celestial traveler interacted with our solar system and left its subtle fingerprints across the cosmos. Astrophysicists debate the gravitational ripples caused by Schultz's star. The slight shifts in celestial bodies hint at the star's approach and its journey through our cosmic neighborhood. Schultz's star stirred the Oort cloud, a distant halo of icy objects. Its gravitational pull sent comets spiraling inward, setting a chain reaction that would reach the inner solar system. As comets breached the atmosphere, they painted fiery trails across the sky. These events may have sparked climatic shifts, leaving lasting marks on Earth's delicate balance. 70,000 years ago, our ancestors gazed at the heavens. Did they see the celestial visitor? Did the streaks of fire across the night sky inspire myths or warnings for generations to come? The traces of Schultz's star are not only written in the heavens. Scientists today comb through Earth's layers, searching for evidence of impacts, atmospheric shifts, and other signs of cosmic disturbance. The star's passage altered more than the distant Oort cloud. Its influence may have nudged celestial bodies within the solar system, creating subtle changes that ripple through time. Today, Schultz's star serves as a cosmic lesson, helping us prepare for similar events in the future. By understanding its impact, we unravel the delicate interplay between celestial visitors and our solar system. Schultz's star visited and moved on, but its story lingers. In the dance of stars, each one carries a tale, reminding us of our place in the ever-unfolding cosmos. When a hyperbolic celestial body breaches Earth's atmosphere, it manifests as a blazing fireball in the sky. The intense friction ionizes atmospheric molecules, creating a radiant display of heat and light. Upon impact or atmospheric disintegration, these bodies release colossal energy. Dust and aerosols are propelled into the stratosphere, forming a veil that temporarily dims the sun's light and alters atmospheric composition. The resulting dust clouds act as a barrier to sunlight, triggering abrupt cooling events. This climatic disruption impacts ecosystems and challenges early human societies, forcing them to innovate or migrate in search of survival. The ripple effects of such events cascade across the globe, from unseasonal rain in arid lands to extended winters in temperate zones. Earth's climatic systems reel from these sudden perturbations. Even a near miss by a celestial body can disturb Earth's magnetic field, causing global auroras. Gravitational influences may also slightly shift tectonic plates, adding to the planet's dynamic stress. To those who gazed at the sky 70,000 years ago, these events were profound and mysterious. Were they seen as divine warnings or celestial celebrations? The truth is lost to time, but their stories endure in our shared imagination. Large celestial bodies can influence Earth's orbit, even if subtly. Over thousands of years, these changes compound, affecting the planet's axial tilt, orbit shape, and the long-term cycles of warming and cooling. The Earth itself holds a record of these encounters. Craters and cosmic debris tell tales of past impacts, while ice cores capture the atmospheric changes they wrought. These are the pages of Earth's celestial history. Today, we continue the quest to understand these cosmic visitors. With advanced tools and simulations, we map their trajectories, seeking to predict and prepare for their effects on our world. Schultz's star left its mark on Earth, a fleeting visitor in the grand narrative of time. As we gaze at the stars, we remember that each one holds a story, not only of the cosmos, but of our place within it. Space, though seemingly silent, harbors forces that shape our planet. Solar storms, supernova explosions, and the paths of comets influence Earth's atmosphere, magnetic field, and even its climate. Let's explore the cosmic forces shaping our world. The Sun, with its 11-year magnetic cycle, drives atmospheric changes on Earth. Solar flares and coronal mass ejections, CMEs, bombard Earth's magnetic field, creating spectacular auroras, but also disrupting satellites and power grids. Cosmic rays create ionization in the upper atmosphere, aiding cloud formation. This process can trigger sudden rainfall and cold spells, showing how cosmic forces extend to Earth's weather. Supernovae, despite their distance, influence Earth's upper atmosphere. The 2004 V838 Monoceros explosion disrupted the climate, correlating with intense snowfall and sudden temperature changes worldwide. Comets, with their icy tails, carry dust that alters Earth's atmosphere. These particles catalyze cloud formation, resulting in unpredictable weather phenomena like snowstorms and heavy rains. Solar storms can disturb Earth's magnetic field, triggering seismic activity along fault lines. Data from SOHO shows a clear connection between magnetic fluctuations and tectonic movements. Galactic dust, carried by asteroids and comets, enriches Earth's atmosphere. This cosmic material contributes to cloud formation and impacts global weather patterns. Stellar explosions weaken Earth's magnetic field, creating atmospheric instabilities. This chain reaction affects everything from regional climates to geological movements. Understanding the cosmos is not just a scientific endeavor. It's vital for our survival. From ancient stargazers to modern astronomers, The quest to decode this connection continues. The universe tells a story of interconnectedness. Each explosion, comet, and solar flare reminds us that Earth is part of a greater cosmic symphony. History has been erased as much as it has been written, and forgotten as much as it has been told. Countless civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind only stones. But how convincing does conventional history seem to you? Do the Anunnaki or Atlantis sound credible? Or is everything more complex than we imagine? What if in the depths of the unknown, traces of a lost civilization remain hidden? In this documentary, we explore clues pointing to the existence of a lost civilization. What do geology, mythology, archaeology, and history tell us? 500,000 years have passed since the emergence of Homo sapiens. What great secrets are buried in the darkness of those years? Official history only tells the story of the last few thousand years. But humanity is much older. The emergence of Homo sapiens dates back approximately 400,000 years. At the same time, our relatives like Neanderthals and Homo heidelbergensis inhabited different parts of the world. Were they primitive, or did they have a more sophisticated social structure than we assume? Many archaeological phenomena have been discovered worldwide, yet their builders remain unknown. According to recent findings, ancient human communities were far more sophisticated than previously believed. Even the earliest hominins constructed structures, controlled fire, and lived in large groups. But what if this knowledge advanced even further and gave rise to an unknown civilization? The world is not static. Continents shift, seas rise, and land masses transform. 20,000 years ago, the Earth looked very different. Deserts were lush, glaciers extended toward the equator, and much of the Mediterranean and Aegean seas were land. There were no islands between Greece and Anatolia. Everything was connected. Even the Sicily Channel between Morocco and Italy was almost entirely dry. As the Ice Age ended, sea levels rose, land connections disappeared, and coastal cities were submerged. Today, meters of mud and sediment cover the ocean floor. Could ancient settlements lie hidden beneath these layers? Excavations like Göbekli Tepe have revealed massive structures buried beneath the earth. But what if there are entire cities beneath the sea, yet to be discovered? One way to understand human history is by examining mythology. Could ancient myths be echoes of real events? Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria. Could these similar stories from different continents be memories of lost civilizations? Many mythologies speak of a great flood and the destruction that followed. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Noah's flood, Hindu legends, all describe a time when the sea swallowed the land. Could these shared narratives hold clues about an advanced civilization and the catastrophe that erased it? Technology is not exclusive to modern humans. Ancient engineering still holds mysteries that remain unexplained. All over the world, there are structures with advanced stonework. The Egyptian pyramids, the Sacsayhuaman stones in Peru, the Baalbek ruins in Lebanon. They all showcase engineering feats that are difficult to explain, even with today's technology. How were these structures built? Was it mere coincidence that the same techniques were used across different continents, or evidence of shared ancient knowledge? History is not only about building, it is also about destruction. During the Holocene, great wars and invasions wiped out humanity's accumulated knowledge. Rome destroyed Carthage. The Mongols erased entire cities from maps. The Spanish and Europeans decimated the indigenous cultures of the Americas. The Crusades burned centers of knowledge. But what if similar destructions happened in even earlier times? Could the traces of lost civilizations have been completely erased by war and disaster? Many ancient engineering marvels were never rebuilt. Once knowledge is lost, it is not always possible to recover. History may be older than we think, and the origins of civilization may run deeper than we imagine. Could the waters of the Mediterranean conceal the remnants of an unknown civilization? In the coming years, new discoveries may provide answers to these questions. If such a civilization truly existed, its discovery would rewrite human history. And perhaps the past tells a much greater story than we ever imagined.
Humanity is an inseparable part of nature and the universe. The quest for meaning and the feeling of belonging are the cornerstones of existence. Nature speaks to us at every moment. We only need to listen. Learn to flow within the cycles of nature. Feel the song of the wind, the flow of the water, the scent of the earth. Nature is the key to understanding your existence. When you harmonize with its movements, your connection with the cosmos strengthens. Each season displays different facets of life. Autumn teaches letting go, winter, introspection, spring, rebirth, and summer symbolizes abundance. Accepting the cycles is the foundation of integration with the cosmos. Your body is the earthly reflection of your soul. Take good care of it, attend to its needs. A healthy and balanced body allows you to feel the universe's energy more strongly. Art is one of the ways humans communicate with the universe. Singing, dancing, keeping rhythm helps you harmonize with the vibrations of the cosmos. Your creativity is the expression of your existence. Life is a continuous learning process. Mistakes are important parts of your development. Instead of rejecting them, learn from them, grow, and embrace change. Nothing in the universe is random. Every thought that blossoms in your mind shapes your future. By thinking positively and consciously, guide your life deliberately. The intentions you radiate are woven into the fabric of the universe. Every individual, every event that enters your life is a reflection. The relationship you establish with people, nature, and events is a mirror of your inner world. To change your outer world, you must first transform your inner world. Even if your mind is filled with doubt, your heart will show you the right path. Your inner voice is the echo of the universe. Listen to it, trust your intuition, and accept the guidance the cosmos offers you. The past and future are reflections. The only reality is the present moment. Free your mind from the burdens of the past and the anxieties of the future. Experience the essence of life by focusing on the present. Life consists of pieces of a great whole. Instead of seeing people, nature, and the universe separately, discover the connection between them. Everything is interconnected. Living in harmony with the flow of the cosmos unlocks the door to true peace. Harmonizing with the order of the cosmos allows a person to return to their essence and feel the knowledge of the universe. Those who embrace this teaching can deepen their journey of meaning by integrating with the rhythm of nature and the cosmos.